I mean, we have the easiest schedule, I think, out of every team, maybe except one. So I'm pretty confident we'll make it to playoffs. Obviously, this weekend, or last weekend, we put against Team Liquid Echo Fox. We went 1-1, pretty expected. But now all the hardest teams are out of the way. And honestly, we're shooting for the 4-0. We think we definitely can end the season 10-8. But if we go 9-9, we're still going to be in playoffs.
Words of encouragement for his team from Damonte. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. It's the final game of the day. Counter Logic Gaming versus, you just heard from him, Clutch Gaming. We're going to start things off by looking at the starting rosters. On the blue side is Clutch Gaming themselves. Huni in the top lane, Lira in the jungle, Damonte in mid, Cody Sun in bot lane with support Vulcan, and coaches ThinkCard and Artemis.
And selecting red side for the game is going to be Counter Logic Gaming. In the top lane, Ruin. In the jungle, Wiggily. Mid laner, PowerOfEvil. Bot and support going to be Stixxay and Biofrost with coaches Weldon and Irene.
All right, so let's talk about these teams a little bit. Despite roster changes overall across the years and how Clutch's style has changed over the years as well, the team has returned to its old identity of the line. Teams above them, teams below them, they're right in the middle and battling in the middle of a 6th place tie.
Yeah, I mean, they've kind of done so through embracing their aggression, right? It's been a lot of assassin picks for them. You know, it's not even just Damonte playing the assassins. Cody Sun even played Zed mid game as well. Hasn't always been clean, but they are kind of sticking to the plan, so to speak. And this is also, it's good to keep in mind, this isn't do or die, you know, for Clutch, because they are tied, you know, sort of right around in the standings with Golden Guardians and 100 Thieves. Yep. And they still have to play both those teams remaining in the schedule. So, you know, they have their fate in their hands. But up against CLG today, you know, it doesn't bode that well because their record against top 4 teams, 0-2 versus TSM, 0-2 versus Liquid, 0-2 versus C9, 0-1 versus CLG.
Yeah. They have yet, as I said, they're the line. They are the team that cannot beat the ones above them. I hope to do so against the ones down below, and that's all they've got really left here, other than this CLG game. And speaking of them, CLG aim to start their postseason with a playoff bye. And I have a fun stat for everyone. Every time CLG has gotten a playoff bye, they have won the LCS. So if CLG can claim a top 2 seed, it's already over.
No.
Maybe.
All the CLG fans are just lighting their torches. They're getting their pitchforks out. You're cursing them, freak.
If they get 2nd place, they win the LCS. Liquid be damned.
Okay. All right, well, that might be a leap, but it does speak to the turnaround for the team. CLG now tied for 2nd and fighting for a bye. People talk so much about the 7-11 curse kind of record, and they're already 2 games above that. And they've been continuing to improve. They're looking like a legitimate contender. And you know, last weekend we're looking very, very proactive, specifically in their game against Cloud9. You know, utilizing a lot of TP plays as well as proactive Tahm Kench ultimates to really get a lot of work done. So it's been a great season for Counter Logic Gaming, and I think there's so much for their fans to be happy about, despite the fact that you've now cursed them.
Despite the fact, but hey, C9 already lost earlier in the day. Counter Logic Gaming control their own destiny to get at least a top 2 seed. There's even a small chance Liquid fumbles and they take number 1, though they are on the outside looking in on that one. CLG banding away a lot of the champions that are specific to Clutch. The Rumble away from Huni, 6 plays already for him. The Kiana is a champion that most teams will not pick in the first pick phase. Kiana's frequently banned in the 2nd ban phase as it gets later down, but we know that Damonte would have grabbed it early on, so that one's off the table. There is Silas, which will be played by like 4 different players this team as well, so no surprise on the CLG ban side.
Yeah, definitely not at all. You know, Silas as well as Kiana, 2 of the 3 most played actually for Damonte. You know, Rumble, you spoke about it, most played there as well. And Cody Sun going to be on the Sivir here. So Sivir certainly rising, I think, a lot in priority over the last couple of patches. Has been a very, very popular pick. Sure. Ezreal has been kind of the #1 AD on this patch, but Sivir very, very strong. And I do think that, you know, having some of that kind of utility out of your bot lane and the speed up when you want to often play very aggressively with the rest of your lineup for Clutch makes some sense.
Definitely does right here. So Sivir, the 2nd game of the split on this champion for Cody Sun, as Ruin hovered the Singe that he played last Sunday in Academy and popped off on that one. He's back on the LCS stage here, and I still want to see some Singe. I think it's a great champion, but Karma, of course, very good and frequently seen outside of support role. We see her top lane time and again. We see her bot lane as the farm champion for players like Fnatic's Reckless. There's a Sejuani for Wiggily, which is, of course, very good as well. So CLG, a lot of team fight power here.
Yeah, and if this is going up to Ruin, it would be, you know, his 10th unique pick of the split. So that would be, you know, another kind of milestone there for him. He certainly has been a very flexible player, fitting in quite well with CLG, and I think, you know, a pretty big part of their turnaround this split and why they're doing so damn well. Clutch, though, going with some pretty standard stuff here. So it will be Tahm Kench to join Sivir down in the bot lane. You have a strong, kind of engagey style of jungler.
Yeah.
And then I do think that, usually where you see the most kind of craziness and creativity from Clutch is from their solo lanes. And Tahm Kench is a great pick to help support that.
Yeah, definitely can be really strong. You just play aggressively, and you've always got Vulcan around to save you from anything too crazy. Really good against Sejuani as well. It only stuns one target. Let them tank it, eat them, out they go. But if it is going to be bot lane Karma Caitlyn is a very aggressive 2-on-2.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I do think that, while we are seeing mostly Karma solo lane, this is actually setting up quite well, especially alongside that Caitlyn. So much poke that you can sometimes kind of overwhelm the tankiness and the regen that Tahm Kench does have and really look to kind of harass and push in this duo. Set up your traps, start to harass them under turret, look to push for those turret plates. And Stixxay has used the Caitlyn, earlier in the split. It was very effective against Team Liquid, where they took a win there. That was alongside a Lux, which is unbanned. So theoretically, they could still, be swapping this Karma around,
Sure.
utilizing it as a solo lane and grabbing something else for that bot.
Yeah, I think in the current state of the champion, Lux is probably exclusively a mid laner, but always a possibility. Sometimes champions get nerfed and they are then overlooked, and they still have some of the strengths that they would normally have, but don't think we see it. There's the Akali ban. More assassins away from Damonte. That's been his big motif here, as one funnel ban can come through for the Clutch Gaming side, and I'll wait to see what comes in. You can see the Cassiopeia ban, of course, targeted at Huni.
Yeah.
Very particular. Do want to point out something interesting. CLG did pick red side for this game. They had side selection. They wanted to be red side there, so they are really waiting to make sure that last counter pick looks good.
Yeah, I think that's actually really intelligent against a team that is pretty kind of out there, like Clutch, who is more apt to try a crazy counter pick or to try some big curveball. When you go red side, you can actually have that last solo lane counter pick every single game, get the opportunity to be the one answering that, so they don't just have something that really catches you off guard.
You can see here, CLG very much want Ruin to have the final say. Even if he keeps the Karma, they can always pick something else like Renekton for him if that really comes through. One other thing I want to point out is the Tahm Kench change from 914 made him better against poke, worse against all-in, so he can withstand the Caitlyn Karma a bit more than he could last patch. Should be able to weather the storm a little bit there. So we'll see that laning phase be a bit easier than it would have been already or otherwise. And now it's Clutch Gaming's turn to pick their top laner. They know it's Corki to Azir. We've seen this one a bit much, but it's still happening. But with the 3 bans already aimed at Huni, what is his next champion up here?
Yeah, we'll have to see what he does actually want to bring out. He has been playing some GP
Neeko.
and things like that, so it will be a second Neeko play of the split. Did win a game on it earlier this season, so bringing that out, and it's looking like it could very well be that Bard bot lane, leave Karma up on the top lane, who can actually answer this Neeko quite well. Neeko really does kind of abuse the melee matchups much more heavily. A lot of range matchups can answer just fine. It is not going to be the Bard. Unfortunately, we will get Braum. So Caitlyn and Braum will be that duo.
Well, it's a really big meat wall for 2 big carries in the back line and a Karma to support all of it up. Sejuani Braum is a really, really good tank setup to make sure your team fighting is good. And Azir has lots of DPS.
Yeah, it certainly does. And there also is the ability to actually follow up on CC fairly easily. When you look at the Sejuani E stun, the passive stun for Braum as well, you can so easily trap out of that on the Caitlyn. So if you are ever getting caught by one of those CCs, you can expect the Caitlyn trap to follow that up. Tether as well can be quite effective. And we will have to see how CLG is going to want to try to play this out. I do think, drafting that Braum as a bot lane 2v2 now kind of no longer guarantees that they're going to have the push. Sivir Tahm Kench can also push against this fairly effectively, and usually when you see Caitlyn, you want to see it dominating the lane phase, pushing towers, threatening in that way, and kind of farming evenly against Sivir. I don't know if that's going to be good enough from the Caitlyn, so we'll have to find out how this 2v2 is really going to go.
Yeah, my instinct feels this is a little bit close. It depends how much everything Stixxay can do, because he should be unassailable, but I still kind of like the Sivir TK 2-on-2 in an actual brawl itself. We'll see what happens, though, as the players are lit up on the screen. We get final remarks from the coaches as they give last words on how the comp's going to run, what the team fights look like, and what flanks you should be aware of, and what lanes you play to in the late game. But we are ready to go into this one. CLG versus Clutch Gaming. We are on to the Rift. And we'll see which team takes the L in this one.
All right, so it is going to be Comet for PowerOfEvil here. A little bit more lane focused than the lethal tempo. Does allow you to sometimes have a bit more pressure in a matchup like this, but Damonte also kind of answering that. He is going to be going, more towards the sustain here. So,
Oh, Cody, yep.
oh,
Yeah, has to flash that up. If that Braum Q lands, you can flash follow, and he probably always dies. So
Yeah.
Trinket goes down. They get 10 free gold for that one. Thankfully for Clutch, no extra ward to be killed.
You know, I would say, you know, if you level Spell Shield, you'd be fine to that, but at the same time, you probably still have to flash if then the Sejuani comes through. I'm not sure. I do think there is a chance he could have actually held the skill point, leveled Spell Shield, used that on the Braum Q, and then at the very least, Wiggily would have to flash to force your flash likely. But I'm not sure, you know, quite if Sejuani would have been in range anyway.
Yeah, I think he's going to take Empowered Karma Q regardless in that case, and something's going to follow you, and that might just be too much.
Probably
but yeah,
just early flash.
Who knows? And yeah, then you also lose all your lane control because you have to learn Spell Shield at 1 when you want to learn Q and W first. So I think it's fine, and they're going to share 15 gold apiece, so Clutch Gaming get a bit of money there, and we'll see now what they want to do in this one as they... of course, that camp is warded. They're not going to have Skarner start there. Instead, he's going to solo the chickens and have no big issues.
And after all our talk about, you know, the bot lane 2v2, starting without flash as the Sivir means, well, you maybe don't get to push, even if you would have had that push going on otherwise. You have to play that quite carefully in this case, and it is actually going to be airy on this Karma here, so, you know, going more for the like a laning rune. We have seen a lot of Klepto Karma, specifically in melee matchups, but even in some of the range matchups, just utilizing things like an E-start to walk up and actually trade with the Klepto can be quite effective. But this is going to give some more lane power, and Huni's rune will not actually turn on until he has an item to really kind of get the most out of it. With that
auto you for a slow.
Yeah.
Does 0 damage. Yeah, not the strongest. Don't get me wrong. I'm on your side with this
Once
one.
you got the spooky ghost, though, it's pretty.
Yep. All right, well, Lira starting to stack up the zombie ward already. Sweeper comes in, clears away a ward that was on his red buff as you continue around the bottom side. This is actually something that is CLG's knowing about. They've actually pinged out those Krugs and say, hey, be sure he's down there. Don't be too afraid of this one. And of course, they're going to be fine. Level 1 bot lane, not exactly scary down here.
Yeah, I think Lira actually got the ward. There was a ward on the Krugs as well. So I think his Sweeper may have actually lasted long enough for him to get both. Certainly the attack speed from that Shrine does help out quite a lot, the Spire rather. And at the same time, Wiggily just clearing this up. And will be heading up towards his top side. Looks like it is just going to be a full camp clear here from Wiggily, and actually clearing it out quite quickly. He's a camp ahead right now over Lira, and that is quite surprising to me, given that Skarner does have such a fast early clear generally.
Some of it is, of course, Krugs are slower than the rest of the camps, but yeah, so far looks pretty good for the CLG side. I think they got to leash from, which helps a little bit. I'm not certain, I don't remember if I did see that, but likely. In any case, as Counterlogic Gaming are going to continue their mid lane shenanigans of PowerOfEvil pushing in. Damonte has plenty of farm to pick up, so he's actually going to be close or up in farm as a result if he balances the aggro well, and so far so good.
Yep, so Wiggily will just be finishing up that 6th camp, go back to base. We'll see where he wants to go with his itemization, but very likely just going to be rushing towards that Cinder Hulk, as pretty much every single Sejuani does. And you know, down on the bot side, it certainly has been, you know, Stixxay and Biofrost with the push, but again, you know, that could change as things move forward, as the flash does come back, especially for Cody Sun. You may be feeling more comfortable to actually start to try to play a little bit more aggressively and look for that push.
Yeah, 1 minute, 40 seconds to go, so count your clocks, and at about 5:30 into the game, he's back to full power. If there's a die before then hey, he's not got all the tools he wants for himself. Biofrost takes down a quick caster minion, shares 14 gold, and wait for the next one.
Yeah, but so far, so good. Both these lanes forming pretty evenly. You can see you know, CS advantage is developing a little bit here for Stixxay and starting to actually set up a bit of that trap line. Mid lane going pretty well for PoE, though. He actually does force out that first base there from Damonte, and as a result, may be able to hold on to his own teleport to actually just walk it back. But Wiggily,
you're going to spot this one out as well and take most of the small chickens. That's most of the gold actually on that camp is little ones, so Lira coming out actually ahead in gold as a result. Although, of course, still some of that money was taken away as Ruin keeps poking, stacks up his runes, and you got a pretty close top lane down there as well. So pretty close across the farm, and really on the entire map, as PoE has taken his first teleport now as well, has the extra CDR, that should feel pretty comfortable.
Yeah, and at the very least, you know, Wiggily did take a little bit of that gold out of his opponent's jungle. So despite the fact that Lira got most of the little ones, he still did get the big one, and you know, can retreat now back to his side of the map where he can clear up a couple of those camps that are respawning. He's going to be going mirrored starts here for the junglers, as they are both on the Chilling Smite as well as the boots. But Predator, you know, will be active fairly soon here for Lira, which is going to be really usually kind of your first opportunity as a Skarner to look for things.
He's going to be back up around the time he's got level 6. Damonte really pushed out. PoE getting a lot more damage so far. Damonte going to have a hard time with this one. He's got fleet, like he's got some regen, but it's going to be a second recall coming in very, very early on. With only 500 gold to spend, that is not great.
No, definitely not. You know, and it's gonna again give PowerOfEvil another free reset. He's just gonna be able to shove in this wave and look to actually base, you know, without really losing much of anything. Lira is there, so there's potential Lira tries to hold the wave for his mid laner and set up a freeze that can sometimes force, you know, PowerOfEvil to stay around. But they're actually just gonna use this time to grab the Ocean Dragon, which is gonna set them up so well for this laning phase. So CLG, you know, off of this pressure in mid and bot, grab themselves a 6-minute Ocean Dragon. That's huge.
That's incredibly powerful. All the landing phase is going to feel incredible off of how early that came in here. CLG, I think the chances of winning go up a ton when you get something like that, because the landing phase really does get amazing at that point.
Yeah, especially when you're already winning the laning phase.
Like
right?
an award.
You know, PowerOfEvil was feeling so good in that matchup already, and now going to be in an even better spot.
Couple ricochets at Stixxay, but he sidesteps the big boomerang blade, which is the important part of the kit early game, and they're going to stay alive here as they just keep knocking down these minions. As you kind of have the waves reset, you see a 3 CS lead for Stixxay. About 11, though, for PowerOfEvil is a really meaningful difference up in that lane. Top very slightly towards Huni here as the recall is yet again stopped.
And you can see that now the flash is back for Cody Sun. He has a BF sword in the inventory, so he is starting to look.
Level 6 for Lira. Flashes off the blue smite. But round 2 is almost assuredly a kill and a ruin.
Yeah, definitely. If there's not a counter gank available there from Wiggily, you know, Lira did get the faster 6, despite the fact that Wiggily had that faster first clear. You know, he spent his time actually taking the dragon while Lira was still farming camps, so did get ahead in the experience, and as a result, able to force a flash. Pretty nicely done. But again, yeah, Cody Sun, you know, is starting to be able to clear out these waves very quickly, and you know, as a result, it's going to be a lot harder for Stixxay and Biofrost to really get access to the turret to try to pressure any plates.
At least they have infinite mana here, so until the other Sivir comes in, eventually you can kind of outpush with that one. One of the Sivir nerfs that dropped her off of #1 was increased mana cost, so maybe at some point you see that start to push itself through. Hasn't happened yet, but it can in the future. And before those items do come through. Game's still very close in gold overall. Collegiate Gaming, prime position to fight for a second place spot in the regular season. Collegiate Gaming still battling for a playoff position, but they feel comfortable with their remaining schedule. They're going to hope that they can at least look good here, then beat their direct competition in the coming weeks.
And I mean, if you get a win here over CLG, that sets them up so well, because this is the one that is kind of their hardest game, you know, in the remaining schedule. They do have FLICKR, Golden Guardians, and 100 Thieves, I do remember. So, you know, that is, you know, at least on paper, a lot easier as far as those matches go. This would be such a hard gank for Wiggily to pull off because, mind you, it is a cleanse Tahm Kench. And so if you hit Cody Sun, even if he doesn't spell shield it, he gets the power. If you hit Vulcan, he actually cleanses it. So Sejuani going to have a hard time, I think, ganking that bottom lane unless they can really start to layer the CC very effectively.
He's a blue buff transfer going over to PowerOfEvil. Feels comfortable here, remains at plus 10 CS. His mid is shoved in by Damonte. Has his own blue buff about to be claimed. As you can see, Lira already starting that one up in the mini-map. And down go the minions, over goes Damonte. And look at that. Good guy jungler sitting there hitting Q, but not auto-attacking for the accidental red buff steal. Damonte autos it from 37 HP and manages the last hit.
Yep, we'll head now back to base. Has been PowerOfEvil, though, you know, running this lane, playing it out very well. And most mid laners I do talk to do feel that it is a bit Corki preferential. Now, you know, that can change a bit, you know, given that there is common and perhaps a bit more lane focus with that rune there. But Lira hanging around here in mid lane. First package has been grabbed by Damonte, and we'll be able to stop the recall at the very least.
Yeah. Walks over, presses E. All right, fine, I'll recall again. Wasted 7 seconds, maybe it means 1 CS gets dropped. Gives the position away, but not a very big price to pay there. Is once again now CLG forced to wait around and look for the next item opportunities, as 1,500 gold is sitting on both these marksmen. So the next piece of their upgrade can happen, but not the major ones yet.
And both junglers hovering here around mid. PowerOfEvil getting fairly low, so there is the chance of that potential, you know, flash Skarner ultimate. But Wiggily is in the area also, and you do have to be very careful about that. Damonte has been taking the worst end of these trades time and time again.
Some packages away, as there might have been the attempt to stream a shuffle, but regardless, able to pretty easily wait for this one. The melee minions all very hurt. Q and R knocking the casters, and you can feel fairly comfortable. Still sitting at a 300 gold difference in this game. Top pretty much trading even, but Huni still slightly ahead on that side. Kind of answering what PoE has been doing over in the mid lane. Junglers within a camp, so no problem there. Now Lira going for the solo attempt on this Rift Herald. Has the control ward, making it pretty safe. PoE sniffs this one out, puts on the Scryer's Bloom, and has Wiggily coming down as well.
Yeah, good job by PowerOfEvil just kind of sussing that out. Rune is still walking back to lane, though, so You know, this is clutch to have the advantage in the area, and it should be their dragon. We'll see if Wiggily even wants to try to go for a steal.
Gonna reset
the
though.
Patience, yeah, the patience getting messed up there, juggling the aggro too much. It does get reset, so CLG will avoid giving that over, at least for now.
And at least it makes them waste a bit more time now that Ruin is back to the top lane. He can push that in first, can deny Huni some farm unless Huni wants to leave and go claim that. But similar things happen in the mid lane. Now TP coming in for a few more members as PoE rejoins the squad. Biofrost has already walked over. And Cody Sun is walking up here as Stixxay is walking to the bottom lane.
That's 4v4 now, so they can take this fight if they want. CLG are set up in the area.
They find the stun. Where's the squad? Okay, Vulcan gonna save one. Not gonna land 5 HP onto him. Here comes the Neeko attempt. Finds the stun with Pop Blossom. And again, Lira stays alive. 1-for-0 first blood to Damonte. Looking for a little bit more to do here as the poke comes back and forth. Damonte half HP, but 1-for-0 is first blood. Now Stixxay pulling out the recall as he shoves in the wave, but he can just go for plates instead. He's just gonna, all right, just recall.
Yeah, it just goes back for that reset, and it's gonna take time to do that. But Wiggily wanted to try to dive deep and actually finish off Lira, but Lira still had his ultimate. So they almost are able to burst down Lira. It was a fairly good engage here. Vulcan, though, in position to save him. You can see Lira gets quite low, down to about 5–10% there. As he gets spat out, Wiggily flashes forward, but there's a Skarner ultimate available, so he just gets Skarner ulted straight into that Neeko ult. The Skarner flashes over PowerOfEvil's Shurima ultimate there as well, so is able to survive, and it is just a 1-for-0 for clutch. No team is able to take that Rift Herald.
Herald not claimed. A turret plate dead on the bottom lane, and Stixxay got to take the second recall to grab Infinity Edge, kind of matching what you've already got with Cody Sun of the Essence Reaver. Similar prices, similar power points. As a quick spit on the scuttle, slowly but surely, gives Cody Sun right there. 112 extra gold. He's rich. Feels great, walks into mid. Here come the new looks for the squads as it's now Clutch Game putting their duo in the mid lane.
Yeah, and they're just going to send Corki down to that bottom lane. Corki loves the side lane, is quite effective in that side lane in a lot of the 1v1s, pushing in, and will be happy in this 1v1 against Stixxay. And despite the fact that it is, very, very close between the Sivir and the Caitlyn, I think Clutch should be happy with how the laning phase went overall. They're the ones who are picking the Sivir. Generally does scale better into that late game, and sitting even against the Caitlyn, only having given up one plate, is not too bad.
This little poke right there from Ruin as they continue to trade blows across these two mages. Huni's GLP is done, colloquially the Super Soaker. The build you always expect when you go for Glacial Augment up there on that champion, and so that's the first bit of power online. Athene's already done for Ruin, which cannot self-heal. That item's unique passive does nothing for you until a teammate is around.
Yeah.
But of course, this is what you pick Karma top for in the first place, is your team support.
Yep, definitely the case, going area as well, and it does give you a little bit of MR, which can be nice against the Neeko. That, in addition to the Merc Treads, helping you deal with those Tangle Barbs, that root that does last so long when it goes through the minions. So, it's going to help him survive there, but this likely will be a full-on kind of supportive style of build. I do think the Ardent Sensor is great for both the Caitlyn as well as the Azir. One of those few AP mid laners that really gets a lot out of attack speed also.
For sure.
So, I think it would be a great second item, and CLG look like they're just trying to set up for team fights.
Looking solid then if the team fights are going to happen right here. Double Drake picked up by the CLG squad as they grab Cloud now themselves, of course. And the bot lane was where they had pressure. They actually knocked down another plate or two down there with the 2-on-1 as Azir has been kind of having a better time wave clearing than this Corki has been. More damage onto this turret, putting it to about 20% now. They're waiting in the wings in case there is a dive. He's there for the counter. Damonte's so low on mana. Keep in mind, no more access to the blue buff. He's on the wrong side of the map for that one. Means the turret does go down, and Clutch Gaming put their duo in the mid lane, get nothing. CLG keep theirs down there, get first turret.
Yeah, very well done there by CLG, utilizing that Caitlyn, the additional range. Can be hard sometimes for Sivir, I think, in this matchup against the Azir, because you are so short range, you can get poked out by those soldiers very easily if you're not careful. And it will be turret, but it is at least a post 14-minute turret going over to CLG, so not the end of the world. Still, the additional 1,000 or so gold will be in their pockets, and can feel good about that.
Exactly, 1,000 gold is that lead here. Huni almost the break point to one-shot cast finish, but not quite there. E helps though, and just shy of 21 gold, but that's okay. You're gonna feel comfortable. CLG now move their lane over as you expect this Caitlyn with items to feel pretty comfortable. Pushing down the wards and now playing for the mid lane. Early Kerchai Shroud in case he finds an auto attack like that one, almost. He tried.
Yeah, and generally speaking for the Caitlyn, as soon as you actually knock down one turret, you want to start moving around map and continuing to pressure those outer turrets. That's generally how you kind of get through this mid-game lull. You know, Caitlyn, I don't feel the strongest champion, you know, on one item, so you generally do kind of need a Zeal item online before you really start to feel like you are picking up some of that power. But it is Clutch up on the top side, utilizing that Rift Herald post 14 minutes, but should help them to get this turret at least very low as CLG is coming in to respond.
Plus a bit of turret damage. That is fake Neeko thrown down into there as the Herald will go down, but this turret is about 15%, so good damage being dealt at the very least as Clutch are close to knockers of turrets. But CLG feels like they're the faster team around the map for the most part. UE shoving in the full wave down there. Doesn't deny a ton of farm, to be honest, but at least puts a couple of chips into that turret.
Yeah, and getting a nice farm advantage for himself. You know, he is up at 20 plus CS at this point over Damonte, so going to be feeling pretty good about that. Looking like he is building towards the Ludens as his second item. Already has the Nashers online. And we'll have to wait and see what Rune wants to build towards with this next buy. Has quite a bit of gold, you know, 1,500 to his name, so should give us a good idea of exactly where he's going to be going with this second item. But certainly am expecting it to be the Ardent Sensor, and it looks like it will.
Yeah, those are the components. That's going to be pretty likely here. As everyone goes back and shops and waits for the next pieces to come through, the support of Karma, again, behind two high DPS, more or less auto-attack focused champions from the Azir and the Caitlyn. That is CLG, very clearly looking at team fights. Their split pushing is okay. Azir can win some 1v1s, reasonably good at getting away from stuff, but Skarner can often get on top of you, so be careful there.
Yeah, it definitely can be dangerous, especially if Corki has package or something along those lines. You are fairly vulnerable. You know, certainly Azir can be good at, as far as the wave clear, but extending too far out, you can definitely get chased down in a long lane by a Predator Skarner, and that is what he really has to be careful about. You can see Lira, you know, down in that quadrant on the map, and not a ton of vision for PowerOfEvil to keep him safe.
Again, jumps over the wall, gets the safety. As Predator was popped and nothing really found for that one. Clutch Gaming, once again back in the mid lane as Cody Sun knocks down these minions without too much issue. It's Sivir, this is just what happens. You're very good at this. Wiggily looks for aggression, cannot find it.
And that's also one of the nice things about this style of build here for PoE. When you are going for Nashers into Ludens, you have full CDR, so the cooldowns, you know, on your escape abilities are quite a bit lower as well. And are going to help to keep him safe in those types of spots. Wiggily now hovering down on the bot side. They knew Lira was in the area and maybe wanting to set up for this potential next dragon.
So when it comes up, 45 seconds. CLG have gotten the first two so far from playing a Caitlyn lane. And Sivir was the first pick of the entire draft, and CLG said, you know what, Caitlyn into that, we should be fine on the 2-on-2. Saw the Tahm Kench, said, okay, Braum comes in as well, no problem. And they decided the Karma was going to be a top laner after all, as they were going to play two carries and still wait for those champions to start to matter in the team fights.
Yeah, and you can see a very early QSS already here for Stixxay. So, you know, going to invest into that. You know, that is the goal for a Zeal, you know, they could have actually had, but he is going to try to make sure to really keep himself safe, you know, not only against Lira and the pull there, but also the root from Huni can be quite effective.
And he's only 400 gold up overall income-wise. This is certainly a DPS hit, and as you mentioned before, and I agree, Caitlyn kind of wants to get that 3-item point to really become the sort of super carry that she tends to be. This is the part where you start to feel more comfortable with the Sivir as you start to add more crit chance and the extra movement speed. Gets away from the Braum Q though, stays alive, and there's the wave clear.
Yeah, and you know, it's also kind of limiting, you know, who those targets are for engage for Clutch, and CLG look like they want to try to fight here.
Almost find the option, but look how low Biofrost gets. 600 health onto him as he's got to get away from the Corki. Good damage out of the level 13 Damonte. Sivir now pop. They might find Stixxay. Lira, of course, you got the QSS. Has to make the flash come out because the East then would have been too much for him. So that is Summoner Spell down. Good play by Clutch.
Yeah, really nice.
Oh, that is huge for Huni. The follow-up as well. Clutch Gaming 2-for-0.
Yeah, Huni over the wall there. Hits a huge root. No hesitation to actually flash in after that. And I believe he TP'd for that play. You can see the Summoner Spell on cooldown. So not only will they get 2 kills, they will grab the Dragon off the back of that as well. And Clutch coming up with another big play.
Big play by Huni, setting it up. Nicely done. Knocks him down afterwards. Game only 500 gold apart now.
Okay, so here this is one more time. All that poke, as you mentioned, coming out from Damonte and Cody Sun over on a Biofrost. He gets low. Stixxay winning this duel against Vulcan. But unknown to CLG, this teleport was coming in over the wall, and then the Tangle Barbs connects on multiple members. Spooky goes over, so they're both slowed up. Hits the root on 2, the Q perfectly on 2. R flash right in. Great play there from Huni. Comes up big for his team.
Nicely done. Over the wall, the rest of the squad. So that brings the game a lot closer. 600 gold apart for the Ocean Drake and CLG side. And Still Clutch in fighting distance here. And again, the point is that they are half a game behind 6th place, half a game above 8th. They are right between 100 Thieves and Golden Guardians in position to make that play happen. And finding the current #2 team in CLG and looking pretty decent doing so bodes well for their postseason hopes.
I mean, it's honestly a very important game for both teams. Yes, it is for both reasons, but you know, Clutch hunting for that playoff spot. CLG, they want 2nd place. They want to go straight to semifinals, guarantee that you will be playing in Detroit would be huge for this organization that has been having a lack of success over the last couple of years.
And CLG support Biofrost has the highest playoff win rate in the LCS. It just so happened the last 3 splits he didn't make playoffs, so it stayed that way for a while. But this CLG squad pretty much close to locked into it now. Suppression comes in, the stun afterwards, and Wiggily just cannot walk absolutely anywhere. Chain CC'd forever, and another kill comes in for Huni. 2-0-2 for him.
Yeah, great turnaround there from Clutch again. You know, Wiggily was trying to set up for a potential dive onto Huni, but they couldn't find the angle. Lira just walked straight up, and they knocked down Wiggily. 0-3 at this point of the game. But
Ouch.
CLG, you know, still farming well, right? The gold is dead even, despite the fact that Clutch has the additional 4 kills.
Finally, the turret breaks that point a little bit. As actually, wow, both side lanes just dropped turrets. So now it's 1,000 apart. When you meant to say it, though, you were right, Azale. You're not a liar. Times just changed. As yep, absolutely. No, I got your back, Azale. All right, don't let anyone tell you otherwise. CLG now on the back foot here. As times change, we wait for the next items to come through. 1,900 gold to the inventory means Stixxay is slowly getting towards that Zeal and upgrade. Very nearly has that.
Yeah, going to be able to likely have this after this next wave. We'll be in a good spot there. Ardent Sensor has been completed for Ruin. So both these teams are kind of slowly powering up. You can see a lot of the core itemization has come in really across the board. Huni double spell pen as well as both the double active items for that slow with the Glacial Augment. That is really big for him there. Lira now has his Righteous Glory. So, you know, really a lot of the key items are coming in across here. Damonte is opting to go for the IE, very likely into Rapid Fire. We can see Cody Sun working on his 3rd item IE. So, you know, both these teams have kind of sat back so much that when they do have that first initial team fight, everyone's going to be fully online, it feels like.
Yeah, I think so. There's Rapid Fire. There's Rapid Fire on the other side now as well. Cody Sun, BF Sword, and Damonte pushing forward. He's going for the more auto attack focused build, actually. It's IE over the ER, but 1,000 gold. Fake Huni. He sends him in a lot, but you know, at one point it's going to be a real one, and suddenly they're going to die to another Pop Blast. And there's the root. Big damage there. They're going to find even more Boomerang Blade as Biofrost just takes gigantic hits. Also stop fire for the QSS. There's the slow. Stixxay puts down a trap, stays alive. Cody Sun wave clearing aggressively now in the face of the opponents.
Yeah, that poke is very nice though, because we are post 20 minutes, so there always is the potential of a Baron play, and you know, this mid lane power that they have is going to allow them to walk up, get a little bit of chip damage down on that turret, but for now, it just kind of allows them to maintain control in this Baron area. They are heading over into darkness, and perhaps CLG could be kind of baited into checking it out.
Huni constantly scouting with that ability. Waiting for his next way into this game. 100% participation. Perfect KDA. So far, the all-star player on Clutch Gaming this game. We actually ran a bunch of numbers recently, doing sort of like a very sort of blind quantitative analysis on every player, looking at all kinds of laning stats and aggression and kill participation and damage numbers, and Huni was actually #1 just like the aggregate score across the LCS for top laners because of how many high damage champions he plays. He's got 6 Rumble games. Obviously that is somewhat stat inflating, but sort of through that somewhat opaque lens was actually putting out really good performances. Now trying to do again this as a big root comes in and they find even more damage, nearly killing Biofrost yet again.
Yeah, and he does, you know, to his credit, have that kind of champion pool that he can play those champions very, very well. The Rumble, the Cassio, you know, even the Neeko here. Certainly champions that can have a really big impact on a game, and we know Huni at his best is a game changer. PowerOfEvil now spotting Damonte, but everyone seems to be kind of moving over towards this mid lane. It looks like that is where they're trying to get control because Dragon is up. They need to get that mid lane.
And now it's a Ruin and a Biofrost. Big damage there yet again. Is they going to find the Pop Blossom onto 2? Big damage though, and it's going to be Ruin dropping 1 for 0 so far. The Root on a Lira means big damage though, but eaten up by Vulcan means he is safe from the rest of that damage from Wiggily at about 3 health right there. Just walks away by the skin of his chinny chin chin.
Yeah, Vulcan able to actually save Lira there. Lira got the big ultimate onto Ruin. Doesn't have a QSS for himself, and he just gets knocked down, so it is Clutch winning another fight, having mid lane control, should be their Dragon.
This is looking really good now for the Clutch Gaming side once again. Not the real Huni, but keeps them on their toes as they walk down to this river, and it should be safe. They got the wards going down as well. You can see Vulcan, just in case he's around. Something happens to Huni, he's there to save him. They get all the ward control, they steal the blue buff away, and they're gonna knock down this Drake as well. Clutch Gaming not giving any opportunities to CLG. 5 straight kills for the team.
Up 2,000 gold now as well, and you know, the lead is growing. They are starting to get themselves into a pretty good spot. CLG has fantastic late game scaling, but so does Clutch. And here this is once more. Huni from the side lands that slow, and in they go. Wiggily does dive forward, and you can see Karma, though, from Ruin. He's pulled across the team. They just focused him straight down. Once the Karma is out, Vulcan gobbling up Lira, barely surviving there, and Wiggily on the other side, inching out with very low health.
CLG unable to find their way in, despite having a pretty conventional team fight composition. They've got the Sejuani and Braum to start things off, but good spell shielding, good Lira ultimates. Clutch Gaming are not being found out here. They consistently are outfighting CLG here and looking very good in this mid game.
Yeah, they really are, and you know, we'll see if it's going to kind of continue towards that late game stage. Stixxay is now working towards his second seal item. Cody Sun closing in on that IE. That is really, I think, where Sivir gets very, very strong and just about has the gold for it. But, you know, CLG, one of their advantages is certainly going to be the range, because I do think Sivir can struggle when it is against an Azir and a Caitlyn to actually close the distance to get those auto attacks off. Huni now threatening a flank from the side.
That's a big whiff in the ultimate down there, but it's damage to Huni, but not the real one. It's still him just scouting out and forcing a couple of attacks out, a couple of spells out. Nothing gained as Damonte pushing in the bottom lane.
Yeah, that's still just very good play. Huni threatening from the side, utilizes the clone to eat the trap, and that's just buying time for Damonte, who now has to be careful.
Go over the play, and Valkyrie's down. Sejuani over the top, and Damonte gets himself killed. Did not flash away in time. That's an important one as the wave is picked up.
Yeah, Damonte just kind of wandered in there. They knew a lot of members were missing, but he felt confident.
Whoop. Try to make it damage. I think he's trying to force flashes out from the opponents and kind of bait that he's going in for it, and that's not going to be what happens here, though, because he ulted to then set the clone in, so it really was trying to make it look like he was the one going forward.
CLG, though, they're actually putting a lot into this. They're trying to go towards the Baron. PowerOfEvil TP back. They want to start this up with Damonte still dead. They have 20 seconds in this 5v4, and it looks like Clutch moving over, but I think it's maybe too late.
Huni can scout it out. 5,000 health on the Baron. Lira is around here. Several to build some space as well. Will they go for the fight? Yes, they will, but here comes the rest of the squad. PoE wants to fight the 5v4. They get some damage across, but not any kills. Collegiate Gaming running out of HP, but they find Huni. They get some damage. The snipe blocked by the clone, but they still have the auto attacks down. Nice pick up there by Ruin, finally on the board. 5-2 the score line as CLG have finally picked up 2 straggling kills, but they do not get the Baron.
Yeah, they don't get that Baron. They do get a kill, but now Damonte has respawned and is running out on the map, so at the very least, Clutch do ward them off the Baron. That was really important to actually keep that out of their hands, especially when you have such a strong siege composition. But CLG now are going to try to two-man this. Instead of actually resetting, they're just going to try to utilize this two-man Baron play. Stixxay can even join in from over the wall. This is so sneaky.
Yeah.
Clutch has no idea.
Ocean Drake is not turned off by monster damage, so Wiggily can actually tank this despite being at 400 HP, so they have the damage output, and over the wall, CLG claim a huge neutral objective.
That was so smart. They don't even bother to clear out the ward because it's shut off by the pink. Going in over the back of the pit meant that none of that kind of river vision that was around was going to do anything for Clutch, and they just had no idea that it was happening. So CLG go right back to the scene of the crime, grab the Baron for themselves, and now we're in a great spot.
That's absolutely beautiful. And so once again, now it's them with the lead back since the early game. Clutch Gaming had found 5 straight kills. CLG got 2, and they got the Baron sneak, and they swung it back in their favor. Scouting goes for Huni, find nothing, as CLG waiting around the wings, looking to, again, hope to threaten Cody Sun, but it's not possible. Spell shields, and barring that, Vulcan's still around on the top 10.
Yeah, now Cody Sun, though, is on 3 items, as is Damonte, so their carry is certainly still very strong, and Damonte just looking to trade towers. They want to try to just split this out, but a lot of members are coming for Damonte. We'll see if this recall finishes in time. He should be okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Blue trigger to Sivir ult was enough, and he's got the shot for the flash. That's going to be enough. Damonte, nice try, but going to lose his TP and his life.
Yeah, it does go down, so getting punished pretty heavily there, but at the same time, Huni's splitting top. So they're actually making use of that pressure. It wasn't just a useless sacrifice there. Huni's going to be able to take down a top turret. So, you know, during this Baron power play, you know, Clutch has taken 2 towers, very nicely done by them, and delaying the siege.
Sivir trying to get the rest of the squad away now as they realize they've been outnumbered with Huni far away. It's a 3v5 somewhere on the map. There's a bit of territory claimed by CLGs. They can knock down some of these jungle monsters. No kills just yet, but the wave's now going to push back towards Clutch Gaming's side. Still no one able to stop this mid lane pressure with the Baron buff on for still more than a minute and a half. CLG going to knock down yet another turret, make that 3-4 by that scoreline. You're not going to find an engage or anything, and CLG able to walk down to the bot lane where they've already got Azir. Setting this one up now as well. A PoE just basically solo kills the thing. No one else touches it. All right, fine. Stixxay claims the kill credit, but that was all PoE's doing, and they push more in the bottom lane.
And now this is dangerous because Huni is still out on the map, but they're on the inhibitor tower now. This is not something you want to actually trade for, but it looks like they're just making the call. We just give this up.
Just dynamic.
They are just going to decide to just straight up give up the inhibitor. It is just one, and to be fair, Baron is already off the map, so it's not as big of a deal. They have tons of wave clear. They can farm this up, so they didn't feel that they could defend it. So they'll just allow it to go down and continue to scale towards this late game.
Oh, beautiful stuff. CLG feeling pretty comfortable now as they get a very big Baron power play. Not even done with it yet, but it's 2,300 gold up. Ocean Drake now over the top, so even more regen. Sitting out in CG going to be easy for these guys as they've got a ton of money in their pockets. Here comes the flush reset as they can all spend down to close to 0 and get ready to claim the map once again.
Yeah, Ruin will have his death cap. That is really the big 3 items you want when you're playing this more supportive style. You have these great supportive items to heal and to buff up the shielding, and then you have the death cap to amp that up and just give you these massive shields to protect your carries. It is much more about that sort of supportive style than it is just about straight damage.
Even deal some in a pinch because the AP is not even that bad. Yeah, sitting at 484. That's Baron buff partially, so more like 400 when it falls off, but no slouch in really any of these departments here. It's going to be a very comfortable game as CLG push around to the top side. Huni will grab the blue buff. Scout with the clone yet again. Out he goes.
And another QSS now purchased up. PowerOfEvil has his, so 3 QSSs for CLG. Really the only people that Lira can grab is Ruin or Wiggily, barring some ability to force that out earlier. But it is going to be very difficult because you have this big front line. Stixxay has tons of range. He has gotten all his items, and now you can tell just how much damage he is getting out. But Cody Sun is going for the 100% crit build. He is actually not going for a defensive item. No Bloodthirster or Lifesteal being bought up. This is double Zeal, IE, and Essence Reaver, which will give him 100% crit and tons of ricochet damage.
Yes, it is. The stun on the front line. They're going to find only the clone, though. Nothing useful gained there. As Cody's running cut down to kill the tanks, and he's already got Legend Bloodline for some lifesteal regardless, and there's the last item done. So every auto attack Cody Sun ever sends us the game will crit for a lot of damage.
And especially for someone like PowerOfEvil, you have to be really careful about that. 1 or 2 ricochets over onto PoE, he doesn't really have a good way to heal that up. Stixxay is eventually, I'm assuming, going to get a Bloodthirster that can help to deal with that, but some of these AP carries, it's much more difficult. Ruin, PowerOfEvil can be in some trouble when those ricochets start coming through.
See, the Shiv helping as well. Crits for, 275 right now. That is a lot of damage. It can reach the backline just with that. So that'll be fun to watch for and see how much Cody Sun can do. He's going to be one of the primary carries here.
And the question is just, can you get the auto attacks off, right?
Yeah.
You are very short range. Caitlyn and Azir can hit you before you can hit them, and that is the problem. If you try to walk straight forward into an Azir or Caitlyn, you will lose so much health before you're even in range. So, often it's about, instead of trading autos with the carries, it's about trying to hit frontline and just ricochet to backline. And hopefully his team can create enough space for him that he can at least free auto on someone like Biofrost or Wiggily.
Here comes the play right now. Looking at the first opponent, they're going to get a big knockup. It's the rest of the front line. That's a very, very big tank. Sejuani trying to burn her down, and they get a decent amount of damage below 1K. But here comes the re-engage. Tahm Kench just barely brings Lira to safety, but CLG want in for more. PoE though missing flash, can't find it. No stun towards Damonte. Able to walk back because Vulcan takes a bit more as well. And you can see this as Clutch actually gets generally more damage done, but CLG, such big health bar.
Yeah, and that stone plate was so good from Wiggily. Getting that off before he got pulled by Lira was an absolute fight changer there, allowing him to stay alive, and now they are going to have Baron priority. It should just be their Baron. We'll see if Clutch can actually get over in time. They do have Vulcan use Tahm Kench ultimate to try to get out there, but I don't know if they can actually get in.
Well, they can try. Lira does have flash. The opportunity might exist as TP comes in. Huni wants to make the big play. Has his ult as well. Look at the play right now. Big damage towards Lira, though. As PoE's off on the side, feels safe so far. And force a flash out of Ruin. This is actually CLG taking some damage here. Running a little bit low on health. The Ocean Drake's helping slightly, but still you got to watch out for the poke. Here comes the big play. Huni flashes. Gets Biofrost only, though, but it might be enough to kill out the Braum. Stopwatch now burned as well. Shield's going to go down just back to his team. Big shield comes out of Ruin. Look for another slow. Vulcan's going to take some shots right there. They're flashing forward. forward. The crit finds Huni. That's 1 for 0. Second play comes in. PoE shovels him right back into the squad. 3 kills for Counter Logic Gaming, ready to push for more.
And they're going to end. They're just TPing straight down to bot lane. Supers are there. We'll see if Cody Sun can hold on, but this is a 5 versus 2.
This is likely to be a Counter Logic Gaming pushing forward. They're going to have sole control of second as Cody Sun is pushed back to the fountain. The minions are there as well. Look at the damage output. Just burning the crowd control. It's Cody versus the world, and there is no way. The sun will set for Clutch Gaming. He's going to go back into the base. CLG gonna take the Nexus. PoE's got the swag, and CLG alone in second place.
Good close out there from CLG. Cody Sun sold his items to buy a GA so he could actually survive at the end in the well, but CLG, this was a close game for a long time, but they just had a lot of confidence in how they were gonna play out the later stages of the game. They got that Baron sneak, and from there, it really felt like it was all CLG. They had a clear way of how they were gonna close out this game. They were confident, so didn't need to rush the game.
Yeah, good stuff right there. They mostly traded in the top lane. They saw the Neeko and said, okay, Karma goes up there. We're going to play big shields on 2 hyper carries, and they had a bit of pressure in the bot lane. They got a couple turret plates by themselves. Clutch moved their duo mid, and Stixxay said, well, that's free real estate, and knocked down that turret, got first turret there, and then moved over, and slowly and surely CLG got a little bit more done, and they were okay to sit there at a 0-5 kill start, and ended 7-5. They got 7 in a row. They stopped losing almost any objective in the game entirely. That Baron sneak was super sick, and they closed it out.
And I mean, CLG is now sitting at 10-5.
Yeah.
Very impressive stuff from them. Looking really good down the stretch. There was so much talk, especially towards the beginning of the split of the power 3, right? TSM, Cloud9, TL. That's who everyone was looking at. CLG is sitting in second.
Yeah. Yeah, Olo in a second right now with 3 games to play. Beautiful stuff by them. A good work so far. We'll see if they can keep that play up by. But now we're going to send it down to LaTigris for an interview with a member of the victorious CLG.
A victorious team indeed, and we have PoE right here by my side. I do want to bring things to the top a little bit. Going all the way back through the draft, it seemed like your team did a great job of kind of countering what was coming out of your opposition. So what was your mentality going right from the start of this game?
Also, we selected red side because it's just, in general, better for solo lanes, and we decided that I'm just going to go for the 50-50 matchup mid lane. So Azir is just not really winning any matchup, really hard, but it's just really safe against every champion. So we just decided to go for the Azir and counterpick to top laner.
And you got to give it to CG. They had a really great laning phase, a couple good picks. What was the turning moment for CLG to bring it around?
Well, I feel like people were really stressed out, so I think Min and me did a really good job at saying chill guys, chill, calm down. I feel like we were all a little bit energetic, so I feel like that really helped, and I'm really, really happy about the Baron call that I did, the sneaky one over the wall. I feel like they were all recalling, and we have so many good champions to just sneak the Baron like this, so I just called for it, and I feel like this was a really, really big turning point of us just getting a lot of objectives, and I feel like people were more calm afterwards as well, because we kind of knew that it's in our hands now.
Well, and Wiggily has said in past interviews that you're not just gunning for playoffs, you're gunning for that #1 spot. Is that still the plan?
Well, for me, it is always just it's taking it step by step, but the other ones are looking for a trophy, and I'm just going to try to help them as much as I can, and just I think we're doing really good right now, so.
Last quick thing for you. There are a lot of CLG fans out there, maybe not sure on how confident they should be watching this wonderful surge of this performance that you have all had. So to the fans, should the CLG fans be confident in your team?
Well, out of experience, every time people believe in us, we don't do that good, so just doubt us, guys.
You heard it here first, everybody. Doubt CLG, according to the mid laner himself. But to wrap things up here on the stage, let's send it over to the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you, LaTigris. I, for one, am fairly confident in CLG. I know that that's not what PowerOfEvil might want to hear heading towards the playoffs, but come on. This is a good-looking squad.
Absolutely. I think that they're the second best team.
You think they're the second best team in the league? You concur?
Yeah, I think I would agree to that right now. The weird thing about C9 is they do so many other roster swaps that it's hard to really get a pulse for how good the team is when they have Licorice, then Blabber, and most recently Deathly. But just because they're doing a bunch of weird stuff doesn't invalidate CLG. So
Exactly.
like maybe down the road, yes, C9 will be better. But right now, CLG is the second best looking team in the league.
Yeah, and I think, to the point of a few of the games we've seen today, this felt more aligned with the kind of controlled style and confident style that at times TL displays. What was interesting to me was the comment that PowerOfEvil made about the early game and how kind of frantic, the team felt around, maybe not feeling like they had a strong position.
I think they probably felt frantic because Wiggily was at one point 0-3-0. The team was down 5-0, not able to do anything on their own. But if you look at their composition, you've got Azir, Caitlyn, that then gets buffed up by a Braum and a Karma. So they had the late game in the bag. They just needed to get to a point where they're even. And the outrange factor is just so brutal with the rapid fire on Caitlyn. How on earth does Clutch Gaming approach that when you have a Sivir and a Tahm Kench that can't stand up like a Braum can?
I mean, the one thing they have an advantage of is engage options. You have a potential root landing by the Neeko. You have the speed up from Sivir. You have a flash pull. So in the early game, Clutch has more tools to try and get ahead. And I think they actually did a good job of kind of forcing action to happen where they hover around that Rift Herald for so long.
Huni looked sick on the Neeko.
Yeah, he had a great Neeko game too. So I think you saw a lot of good stuff out of Clutch to kind of force this stuff to go on with like TP flanks and getting this really nice engage by Huni. They do a good job early.
Right.
Before they get to that point like Crumbs is talking about where you start getting outscaled.
And this is that early roll of everything that Clutch did right to get themselves an advantage and positioned well through the early game, and probably why PowerOfEvil sights feeling a little bit frantic and hectic here in the mid game, needing to make something happen.
And also to that point, as much as there's so much more power on the side of Clutch in terms of how to pick a fight, there's not that much on the side of CLG, so it's a lot of kiting back.
You don't think so with Sejuani?
Sejuani's it. You can throw a Sejuani ult and maybe hit a Braum ult, which is not to say they have 0, but it's still less. And so a number of times people got away with almost no health on the side of Clutch Gaming. And it's because after that Sejuani ult's down, you dump a bunch of damage on him, he gets devoured by Tahm Kench. How do you finish him off?
Yeah. Right.
And until you're forcing the enemy team to run into you because
you have no
ahead,
dive.
Or until you get the damage dealers high enough to capitalize.
Or yeah, you get them
right
so
away.
strong they die right away. Yeah.
And then, of course, as PowerOfEvil mentioned, there was the very intelligent Baron sneak call. And those are the kind of little moments that you want to see from a team, in those moments where maybe they're feeling like they don't have control. How can we get it back? If you're asking those questions, you'll find these moments.
So this one was not the sneak. This one was the last Baron fight where CLG gets the inside track to it, and then Huni is being super aggressive here, but he's doing so because the team can't get into the mix. They're trying to really find their way into the fight, but by committing so much and being poked out, it's just so difficult. The carries of CLG have such a strong range advantage, and they use the terrain very well to make sure that they have the most value out of the current time of their power spikes.
Yeah, and that's also when you have the pressure, so the bot lane super creeps are pushing in and starting to threaten the base, so it puts a timer on Clutch to go find an opportunity, which is when CLG's comp is at its strongest to just kind of kite back, wait till you've blown everything, and then they can go back forward.
You heard Freak say it. Every single time CLG has entered the postseason with a bye, they have won the LCS 2 times. But they are currently positioned solely in second, with only a couple teams able to challenge them at this point in the final weeks of this split. Of course, it was floated out there, the idea of contesting for first place. They're 2 games behind Team Liquid with 3 games to go, so definitely possible. But I think what excites me about this squad is that they feel, to me, that over summer they've had the most steady kind of increase and ramp up, that week over week there has been improvement, noticeable improvement in their game, less so of the roller coaster while maybe still moving up and to the right. And so best of 5s. I can't wait to see what the squad has to offer.
And I have to feel like a lot of this has to fall on the coaching staff, because at Spring, you're basically with the same team except 1 player, and this team was almost at the bottom of the table, and suddenly in 1 split, this team is looking like in the best of 5, they could hold a candle to Team Liquid, and that says a ton because everybody is playing great.
Well, then you pray that they're on opposite sides of the bracket.
No, fight them right away. Right away.
You don't want one of those teams knocked out immediately in the playoffs, my friend?
I want cool matches now.
Okay, well, that's fair. We all do. With today's games behind us, let's take another look at the standings. Counterlogic Gaming currently sit alone in 2nd place, just behind Team Liquid, while Cloud9 sit tied for 3rd. With every team but Echo Fox still in the hunt for playoff positioning. Let's see, though, how you did in the predictions game today. The darts were so close with game 1. Almost had that optic call, but TL pulls it out. Those 2 games in the middle of the day. Cloud9 dropping a FlyQuest.
You were right that we really just get 3 out of 5 every time.
I was exactly right.
Yeah.
I was exactly right. Jap's on the board with a 3-2 scoreline. He's got a lot of ground to cover before week 9 here. We'll see if he can do it.
Yeah, I mean, he
He's gonna have to find about 60 games to be played between now and then.
Well, let's just spot in my record. You know, let's just spot in my record so it looks more
So you
competitive.
go in 1 behind.
Yeah,
Okay
so
with that.
yeah. I don't want to. It's not interesting if you can't keep
15
up.
games to go. We need an update on StatSpot because Jat pushed StatSpot off the graphics.
StatSpot was 1 game ahead of me, so I think it's tied.
We're
Was
tied.
tied, but I don't know what StatSpot's predictions were today.
Oh, that's right. It could have.
Right? Because that could have actually changed.
It's gonna use retroactive
StatSpot went
analysis.
3-2, just like you two.
I was gonna say, I think they're
more
the
of the
same.
same here. More
Because
of the
Golden
same.
Guardians, when we were comparing the car prices, was cheaper than 100 Thieves.
True.
And that was-
Right, and it did. Yeah, it is chosen.
It didn't look like a cheaper car though.
Yeah.
Okay, after today, which car do you take?
TSMs.
Optics.
You take TSMs?
Yeah, it's the cheapest one by far.
Oh my God.
With all
Optic,
the money I got in the
right?
bank out of that
Optics
one.
didn't choose, which is the car I was selling.
They looked really
I just
good.
want to point that out.
They looked
I was
really
selling
good.
the right car. Okay.
I'm buying it because of the car, not because of you. You're a bad salesman.
Moving right along, the LCS returns tomorrow with Crown and Optic Gaming looking to take down Froggen and the Golden Guardians. Then 100 Thieves and TSM clash in Game 2, followed by a battle at the top between Cloud9 and Team Liquid. With 2 more matches before LCS cooldown, where Sneaky and Meteos will test their burrito building skills ahead of the Academy showcase between 100 Thieves Academy and Golden Guardians Academy. Whew, that was a whole mouthful of stuff. What do you think that burrito building competition is going to be like?
Ooh, I mean, I really think it's gonna be really like behind
Is
a
it just a
fast food counter.
Is it a folding competition?
Maybe it's an order.
Or is it a build the ultimate burrito and then we vote on which burrito
Give them
has better
ingredients,
contents?
they put it together, fold it, and see which one actually lasts longer, which one has less of a spill
Lasts
factor.
longer?
Like a spill factor, right?
I mean, there is an
I
interesting...
don't judge my food by what lasts
Well,
longer.
no, to be fair to Crumbs, there is an important part of building a burrito that goes beyond taste.
Yeah.
Is how, can you actually
Firm.
hold it?
Yes.
We digress. If you need more league action, stay tuned for the LEC rebroadcast going live right after the show. But there's an even bigger match that you should check out. And for more on that, let's hear from Tigris and Avali.
Well, thank you so much, Dash. We can't help but be dancing over here on the couch because just 3 months ago, Avali and I were celebrating Maryville's victory over Western University. And tonight, they will have the opportunity to earn North America a world title up against China's GMA University in the finals. And whew, we saw a lot of action last time we were here just for their qualification position to get to that point. And it was a great way to see a lot of the showcase of these players.
Oh my gosh, I love talking college, and the reason for that is that the players are always so sweet, so bright-eyed, and usually when you ask them, like, okay, what do you want to be when you grow up? They're like, well, I'm either going to be an LCS pro player or a doctor. I'm like, okay, those are 2 very different career paths, but when I think back to some of the players on Maryville, I think of Saskia, who just looks up to Doublelift as like the pillar of inspiration for AD carries. And I think back to Niles, the top laner, who his team was calling him like the next Licorice, next NA homegrown talent. And the support from his mom buying the entire team Smurf socks to Smurf on their opponents.
I think that was one of my favorite moments, was running into his mom in the bathroom, as people just do on a regular basis, and she could not help but completely talk up her son. The pride that she felt was so deep, not just in him, but everybody else on the roster. And we've seen great things from this university in the past. It's not the first time Maryville has really showed out.
3 years in a row, I believe. 2017, they took first place, and again in 2019. So this is a team, or excuse me, a university who has a varsity program, hires the best potential coaches, team managers, and sports staff, and the results are showing for it. Like, this is a great program that supports their players and their teams.
Well, and the crazy thing is, we talk about NA so much here, being NA fans ourselves, and watching them perform in the past was great, but now being in the finals against China means a lot to them and the region. So are you gunning for NA, still vying for them in the collegiate circuit?
Oh, you know it. See, I told you, college, the most important scene in competitive esports, because they are going to bring NA an international trophy. They took down EU, they took down Korea, now it's just China left over.
And who knows, we might end up seeing some of these players on the LCS stage. If you looked at the way Artemis was gunning for Niles last time around, I'm sure there are other players that are on the radar as well. But if you're up late into the night, be sure to tune in to the English language stream tonight on Twitch at twitch.tv/bigleague_NA as we cheer our North American reps. Third place match starts at 10 p.m. with the finals starting right after. So back to you, Dash.
Thank you very much. You guys feel that?
Yeah.
That's the glory of a world championship descending upon North America, brought about by Maryville University.
We've gotten them before in Collegiate. There's a ton of tournaments internationally that North America has won. We're one of the best Collegiate regions in the whole world. We just got to focus on that.
That's the future of this league, though. I love to see these young players doing big things. Yes, world champions. You got to do it in college first, and then they come to the big leagues and they show us how it's done. Make sure you get on Twitter and gas those guys up as they go in and fight for a world title tonight. But now for myself, the casters, the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow for more of the LCS. Good night.
I had a depth on my roster 3 years ago, and I got a deftly a slightly downgrade.
Same thing.
Only literally, right?
Nice. I vaulted 3.
Hey guys, can we chase this?
Run up. Yeah, I vault.
Able to pop the ultimate. Everybody joins Clint. Ultimate's gonna find the route.
Pobelter flashes out. Santorin's still gonna be kept alive, but only for a moment. Turtle into the stopwatch, keeps himself alive. Only for a moment as Pobelter goes into the back line.
So that is Summoner Spell down. Good play by Clutch.
Yeah, really nice.
Oh, that is huge for Huni.
I'm watching.
Okay. Their base.
Yeah.
Look.
Nico. Go chops. I go.
Go ahead here. Froggen trying to find some extra damage.
There is no way a Thresh and a Skarner defend against this. The Requiem will take amazing. Double's gonna be taken down very low. Here comes the package delivery system. Package delivery is down. Double sends some trouble. Over the wall goes Meteos, and there's your loot pinata with it. And they've got him already. Jensen's in some trouble, and Smith, he's already dead. And that was one hell of a trigger pull.
Hit me. I'm gonna ulti it back. Nice. Go.
Impact! You cannot say anyone had more of an impact on this game.
Has to flash away as well, and now Mike Young is on the chase, and the first blood finally comes through. Another stun! Trying to burst through, but the Gary health does come in. Still some chunks out from Corki. Kled re-engages, gets knocked right back out. Beatable stuff there. Broken Blade engages them in the fight, though. Packed is backwards, and here comes the rest of the engage. They're gonna get going, but Sven one-shot the guy, and it's TSM losing members. Apollo, can he get the root? He's gonna try. He gets
Matt, let's come here. Over here. I'm gonna tumble to the base, yes.
Okay.
Baron recall is only 4 seconds and it's on the surviving members, so there isn't a play to be made.
You can go.
They go into the base. They're trying right now, and here comes Does the Canadian have it? Look at the damage output. Are you kidding? TSM!